Life is something that we always can't imagine how it is going to run in the coming few minutes, just as we didn't know how it was going to be with the time when you got some challenges. Today, this podcast is going to aim at how we can be slaves in our own families, where we normally come from. My name is Mteri Ivan Jr., and it is a privilege that today we are going to be sharing something worth our attention. For so many times, when we find ourselves being stuck in a certain situation, in a situation that always at least call for help, call for an emergency, and you just find yourself not being able to perfectly attack that situation that has occurred in front of your consciousness. But at times, you find that our families are always there to give support. And you feel like, yes, my family has given support, which is okay. And I think that is what everyone would wish, to be supported by his own family or by her own family. And when you look at it, it is something that holds water when it comes to issues whereby you cannot share it with, or you cannot share them with your friend, but instead a family member. We mostly tend to think about our families first. But today I want to show you that at some point our families borrow us or lend us a loan, which loan is invisible and at first you cannot see, but this loan is going to be taking up much of your self-willingness. You become a slave in your own family, whether you like it or not, but indirectly. A family member will help you when you're in a problem. A family member will always try to be there, but in return, you have to pay. You may find yourself shortage out of finances. Maybe you have a hospital bill. Maybe your child has failed to go to school. Maybe you don't have something to eat. Maybe you're sick and you can't afford to take yourself to hospital. You're a woman. Your husband dumped you, and it is your family member or members that are taking care of you, help you in and out. But trust me, that one day, that 1 minute, that one moment, you have to pay. This has become a problem in our lives, and we should try to see how best we can read out of them. It is not bad to be helped, but instead hope and accept to be helped, but when there are no strings attached. Hope and yes, accept to be helped, but with no strings attached. Are we together? Because at the end of the day, however much you're a family member and you're well off, and you can support your fellow family members, time will come when that person whom you've been helping, she is able, or he is able to support himself and also to support you as well. But instead, most of our family members, what they do is to treat you as someone who doesn't have a free will in your life. They treat you as someone who is supposed to be submissive to whatever they happen to ask you to. But that's not right. Why would you make your family member to be a slave just for what you did him or her previously? The sense of being inducive, the sense of being unbearable and unrealistic. Because if you help someone and he is your family member, I think it would have been good to feel happy for him or her when he makes a step into his life, when he makes a change, a fundamental change, whereby you'll be able to also confess and witness that, yeah, someone has become someone of importance. We normally have to find very many difficulties in different areas of life, but we should not always bring back those memories whereby if someone happens to come up with an ideology, which ideology leads or requests for someone's respect, we shouldn't always try to be nagging to our family members whenever they make a step. It might take you too long to understand this topic, but if you happen to follow, you'll get to understand. Okay, let's get back. I'm going to give you just a hint of what I'm trying to mean. In most cases in Africa, we've found families whereby if there is one or two or three members who are not well off, those members are supposed to be submissive. They are supposed to be slaves. They have no option in their lives because they are being helped, because they are being given a hand to make ends meet. You find that those people are limited with the options of saying yes or no whenever they are asking to do something, just because they are being helped by someone or some people in their family. But that wouldn't have been the case, or that one wouldn't have been the issue, because everyone is supposed to be with his or her freedom to free will. We have different desires, we have different ambitions, we have different goals. Even if you're helping someone, learn to understand that that person has a goal in life, has a mission in life, has everything that you also have. But when you're helping, help with that blessed heart. Don't include strings that are unapplicable, because human life is dynamic. It's never static. It's never shaped in one shape. It keeps on changing different shapes in life every day. And I hope we can understand each other on this. If someone is a victim to something, to a certain situation, don't take advantage of him or her in relation to rescue him over something that you will understand that he has to pay, he has a cost, and which cost is indirect, and you have not disclosed it to him or her. And that has killed our families in Africa, and maybe even the entire world, because we helped someone with $10 and you didn't ask that person to refund that $10 to you. Take an example. A family member comes and rescues you from hospital, pays the hospital bills, and you're like, so and so, Junior, it's done, let's go back home. Thank God you've managed to pass through this. Thank God your life is secured. And you feel happy at that moment, thinking that someone has done so in good heart, in good faith. But I'm telling you, my dear, the day you realize that that person lent you alone is the day you happen to step up in your life and you're like, yeah, at this time around, at this point, I'm independent. I can solve problems on my own. I don't need to call someone to come and help me. I don't need to call someone to pay for my hospital bills. I don't need to have to call someone to come and fill my car. I don't need to call someone that I didn't eat supper or I have nothing to eat. I'm solving problems by my own. That is when you realize that you were given a loan that you were supposed to pay, but instead, they didn't tell you. The day your family member will ask you to do something for them or for him or her, and you're like, oh no, please, at this moment I'm busy, I'm doing ABCDZ, I can't be of help. That's when you realize that you had a date to pay. Things like, so and so is not submissive to us, so and so is not helpful to the family, so and so does not want to understand or doesn't want to know what is taking place in the family. However much you try to sacrifice yourself over some things that are bearable, things that are visible, even when a blind person can visually see them in the spiritual world, they will not recognize, they will not understand you. They will always try to treat you as someone who is a beggar, a typical beggar. They will not understand that you made a transition in your life. They will not understand that you made a step up. They will always try to keep you around them because they know if someone needs help, a faster thing, he can be able to contact you, and you have no free will of saying no. Alright, you have to give reasons why you've not accepted what that person has asked you to do. Why would we become slaves in our families? And what is the purpose of having a family that is dependable? What is the purpose of having a family that will always stand by your side? Is it in nature, like to have someone who is supposed to be always dependable to someone? The best thing would be, let's try to help our families, but not making our family members slaves. just because they're in a situation whereby they cannot afford to help themselves at a moment. Just like I said, our life is dynamic. Life keeps on changing. The one whom you've been supporting today, after a period of 2 or 1 year, or even a month, or even 2 months, will be able to support you. But what is worrying is that even if that person whom you've been helping tries to show you that he is trying or she is trying to be there whenever you need him or her, for you think that whatever he has done or what she has done is less compared to what you've been doing for him previously. That is inhuman. That is not for humans. We should not litter. We should not always try to think something in return whenever you happen to learn or to help someone. Let everyone be given an opportunity to have a free will in his life or her life. Because what you're treating this person, what you're showing this person that he is supposed or he's entitled to be submissive to you, whatever you need him, what you've treated him or her, one day it is going to come back to you, indirectly or directly. Perhaps. How will you feel? Let's try to help our family members, but let's not make them slaves in our families. For so many cases, on so many different occasions, we've seen families breaking up just because they encroached that kind of slavery in them. You helping me is not a case or is not a crime that I'm supposed to repay or to be punished at some point. It is from a typical thinking and a feel that we should try to always learn how best we can style up. Let's not put our families into slavery that someone cannot recognize there and then. If you to help a family member with the strings attached, be open to him or her. Tell him that I'm helping you, but in later or in a short run or a long run, you have to compensate me with this. So that that person stands on his feet to accept or to deny. Someone to say that yes, please help me, I will compensate you afterwards, or to say no, I will not be able to compensate you just because of this, and please, with your help, I'll find ways. But I believe someone will never at some point fail to find means of being helped. But the moment you put up something that is not visible, you've hide your help into something that is not visible, then after a short while or a long run, you unveil it in a different manner, in a completely distorting and disgracing behavior. Why would we treat ourselves to that extent? Very many people have been passing through this, and I'm sure all this at some point will come to an end. Please, you family members who are well off, always try to consider that even those whom you help will live a happier life one day. Isn't a crime to be unable to support yourself, but it's because of the nature. And that's why at Choose a Life we say we are here to summon demons that have created a lot of uncertainties in our life. I thank you for listening, and last but not the least, our family members, stop treating us as slaves indirectly. Let's end slavery in our families from today and onward. I remain Mutebi Ivan Jr. on behalf of Choose a Life. Goodbye.